Hello there and welcome to another episode of COVID-19 Update here in Chatham-Kent, where we talk to different municipal officials, individuals, and organizations that are doing some amazing things during this very interesting time in our community. And we look forward to all these summer events, but organizations are doing different things to make sure these events are virtually presented to make sure people are recognized. And one of those things is the Senior Achievements Award. I'm happy to have Clare Latimer, City Councilor in Ward 2, and the Senior Expo Committee Chairperson. Clare, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Eric. I appreciate it.
So I got to ask you, how are you and your family doing during this very interesting time in our community, province, and the whole world for that matter?
Well, I think we're just like everyone else, glad to see the sun and the warm weather. My husband and I we've often commented over this pandemic period that we're blessed to be where we're at in the time of our lives. Financially and socially, that we can adapt more easily to working from home and other restrictive or quarantine restrictions than we would have 10 to 15 years ago, when we had 4 of the 6 kids still living under a roof and attending public and high school. We're lucky that all our adult children who were employed full-time remain so, with respective job adaptations in place, and the others have been able to continue their studies online and are housed, fed, and safe with current support programs. So we're continuing to enjoy all our regular virtual online family meetings. We look like the Brady Bunch up there, and I have to tell you that it does my heart and soul good to listen to us talk around and above each other and on top of each other like we usually do around our kitchen table. So so we're
Sounds like you guys are big, one happy family, even in this trying time.
Well, we're I don't know. Happy would be that's a relevant word, right? Like we're like every other family, right? I think we've continued to work together and meet with each other and continue our interactions virtually. It'd be differently, but virtually. We're still. I'm happy to report all of us are well and going forward. So that's all we can be thankful for that, right?
Great. You have a lot on your plate. You guys had a great council session this past Monday. That's one entity of this, but you're also taking on, the Senior Expo.
Yes.
Someone who may not know how long this event has been taking place, can you give a brief overview of what is the Seniors Expo?
Well, this award began in Blenheim 33 years ago, and well over 1,000 citizens have since been honored during the Senior Expo, held traditionally at the Blenheim Arena in June every year. And this is where we recognize seniors in our community who are 55 years or older, who have achieved significant goals and made outstanding contributions as a volunteer in our community. We usually have well over 600 attendees. We usually, I guess, Barb Farrer was telling me we feed between 500 and 600 people. So that doesn't account for the people that come early in the morning and then leave and whatnot. And we also have 60 plus vendors who these are people or services that assist seniors to maintain a healthy and safe and productive quality of life in our community. So it's a big deal, and it's looked forward to every year by individuals in our community across Chatham-Kent. Yep. We bring them in by the busloads.
It's one of those events that we always look forward to. Right around this time is when our season's ending, but the Seniors Expo is one of those big ones we always love covering. It's a grand day celebration for our
It is.
Who do countless hours of volunteering in the community.
Yeah.
Obviously, COVID-19 has put a little bit of a damper on a lot of our events. How is selecting them different compared to other years? Like normally, I think you would be sitting around a giant table and saying, who do we pick? Who do we pick? Now we're doing things over Google Meets and Voice and all these other things.
Well, it was a little different this year. Certainly the numbers of nominations was down. We received only about 22% of a number of nominations we usually do. And I think this can be attributed to the fact that the senior centers have been closed and community events that we're not running. And this is where the senior awards were usually talked about and promoted and generally served as a catalyst or encouragement for individuals to fill out those nomination application or forms and nominate the deserving individuals. So we did of the group that we had. Certainly, it was still very hard to decide. I can't imagine having 60 plus applications, which we usually do. But the group, I have those three volunteers, Karen Herman, Eleanor Mifflin, Barb Barron, Catherine Vanek. They've had long-standing, long-standing experience at looking at these nominations and looking at the longevity, certainly, of the type of volunteer, how long they've been volunteering, and what across what sectors of our municipality, and looking at the expanse or the ripple that this volunteer service caused across the community as a whole. And so those are the things that we look at and kind of create a matrix and that matrix I don't think has changed an awful lot through the years, but certainly I relied on the experience of those other committee members and the matrix they used over the last years to help make this decision for 2020.
They say volunteers are the brick and mortar of every organization, and
they are.
You got some great team members backing you up, and again, this is something that we look forward to. I understand the big unveiling of the Senior of the Year will take place at the June 15th council meeting.
Yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll make this really easy for you. Was it a tough decision to make?
Of course it was. I found it was because I actually personally knew most of the volunteers. As an occupational therapist who's been a community therapist in this community for over 30 years, I worked with a lot of these individuals in my own volunteer experience and or my work. So they're all deserving. All of these, as every year, I can imagine and that's why we celebrate all of the nominees because they're deserving. All of them are deserving of the contribution they make to our community across Chatham-Kent.
Well, eyes and ears will be on all those streaming devices and, of course, on your TV channel.
Yes.
The big unveiling, and it's going to be a little different than we normally produce our things, but I'm definitely looking forward to see who the big Senior of the Year is because, all their hard work cannot be gone unnoticed.
I agree. And I think this year it's important to remember we still want to celebrate the 2020 Chatham-Kent Senior Achievement Award nominations. And as the committee has said, hopefully next year will be a return to all that we love. Exactly. And so I think it'll be that much a grander of a celebration. And it is. It'll be wonderful to be able to next year, hopefully, get back to that new norm where we can see each other and celebrate together in person.
That's exactly what I end up every segment. When all this is said and done, we're going to have ourselves a big CK block party, and we'll have a big old Seniors Expo again in 2021.
We sure will, Eric. Thank you.
Claire, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up?
No, I just like to formally thank the committee, the Senior Achievement Awards Committee. These individuals are selfless. And as I say, they have a long history in service with regard to this, the Achievement Awards in Chatham-Kent and through the Seniors Expo. So I think they need to give a pat in the back to those individuals. And I certainly I remain very appreciative of the opportunity to chair this committee. But I think all of Chatham-Kent needs to recognize we are an entity under ourselves with regard to our care and the heart-filled souls that live in this community. I think the May 16 Miracle was another evidence of this, but this long-standing award and celebration is yet another example of our community and the generosity and the care that we extend to each other. And I think that's being recognized, and we deserve, all of us, to get a pat in the back for that.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it better myself. Thank you so much for all you do there, Claire. And
thanks very much, Eric.
Safe.
You too.